Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Weapons, the latest horror film from writer-director Zach Cregger of Whitest Kids You Know and Barbarian fame. Much like Barbarian, this movie is also told in kind of a non-linear way where you're following multiple different characters' perspectives and they all kind of like collide at some point.
Yeah.
Almost like Rashomon, but without like the point of Rashomon. Like Rashomon famously is about how like everyone's perspective is skewed and like, you don't know what the real truth is because it lies somewhere in between the perspectives. This movie is not really about that. This movie is about talking about how this one incident in this one town where these 17 kids go missing one night at like 2 a.m. causes everyone in the town to lose their fucking minds. That's essentially what this movie's about. And so you follow individual characters from the town that are related to the incident, the first one being the teacher of the students whose classroom just completely disappeared one day, and various other characters. You follow a cop at one point, you follow the principal of the school at one point, and you also follow a dad who is the dad of one of the missing kids at one point. And all their stories end up colliding, trying to figure out why these kids go missing. But it's also about how the incident breaks each of them in different ways. Yeah. With maybe the exception being the cop. The cop seemed to have his own issues that had nothing to do with the incident. Yeah. But everyone else has something directly tied to the incident that's kind of bugging them.
This is definitely a movie where there are heavy spoilers. Like, it's really hard to talk about without ruining something.
There's a definitive answer to what happens to the kids. We'll talk about it in the spoiler section. It also firmly places this movie in a specific horror genre, but we can't say what genre that is without completely spoiling it. Yeah. But needless to say, while watching this movie, I was like sitting there trying to solve the mystery myself with all the clues they were giving me.
Yeah, because you know there's like two major possibilities going in. Secret government project.
Yes.
Or supernatural shenanigans.
Yes. Some sort of supernatural shenanigans. And one of the things that kind of gives like a hint that maybe it's leaning more towards the supernatural is there's like a presence that keeps appearing in everyone's stories that isn't quite explained until you get to the last story, really. I will say the mystery was almost more intriguing than the reveal, though the actual final act is amazing.
Yeah. This is a movie where the satisfaction of the film is not figuring out the mystery.
Yes. I actually appreciated the way this movie handled it because even though the reveal wasn't as like big as the buildup.
Right. No.
Everything that happens after that makes it worth it.
Yes.
This movie is surprisingly funny, and it's not just like people like telling jokes or anything. Sometimes it's just like a funny cut that just leaves the audience rolling. I liked all of the characters in this. I even liked following some of the shitty characters you love to hate.
Yes.
The cop in particular.
The
cop in particular.
Like, the more you find out about that cop, the less you like him.
I gotta give the movie credit. Halfway into the cop story, I was sitting there going like, what does any of this have to do with the missing kids?
Yeah.
And then when that finally collides with the homeless man's story, I'm like, oh, okay, this is how this comes together.
This is how this happens, yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough, rock on. Because for most of it, I'm just like, okay, like I'm totally down with the, ACAB thing, like, cop being a shitty cop whose personal issues is causing him to be a shitty cop. I'm cool with that kind of character study. I just, for a while, was not sure what it had to do with missing children.
Yeah.
Because he's not exactly like one of the detectives. He's just a random beat cop.
A random beat cop that just happens to be involved with somebody who's involved.
Yeah. He's like a friend of a friend, kind of tangentially related to what's going on.
Yep.
But he does kind of speak to the corruption and the incompetence of the police department to the point where you actually sympathize a lot with the overbearing father character. Yeah. Who is kind of forcing himself into situations. He's placing the blame a lot on the teacher, like she's a witch, she did something to our kids, yada yada. He almost comes across like MAGA dad, like QAnon dad.
He comes across like he is good. The Josh Brolin character, the dad, comes across like he's going to be the antagonist.
Yes.
But
you sympathize with his like interactions with the cops who are not actually helping the situation, but are constantly telling him to like let it go.
Yeah. When the cops are clearly not doing a goddamn thing.
Exactly. You could tell they gave up on the case a while ago.
Yeah, because they're like, well, what am I supposed to fucking do?
Yep.
And we're cops, so we're not the brightest.
They're too busy dealing with their own corruption and covering that up and shit, So you understand why he feels the need to take the case into his own hands. This movie has a lot of themes going on with it. There's like a theme of witch hunts going on. Some of the stuff with the children itself made me think of like school shootings and like kids dying and like national tragedies like that.
Yeah, because they're looking for the answer, and the answer is not really forthcoming.
Characters have these like surreal dreams, and one of the characters dreams of an assault rifle just floating in the sky.
Yeah.
Like fucking like Godzilla-sized assault rifle.
Yeah, just floating over this house, you know?
And so I was just like, okay, is this like a school shooting metaphor? It really isn't, though it is kind of touching on the emotions of incidents like that.
Yes.
But it's not necessarily about that the way, like, say, Midsummer's about grief, you know?
Right,
or
exactly.
trauma.
It's not as deeply enmeshed in the
It's
story.
one flavor in the soup that makes up this movie.
Yeah.
This movie definitely is about child abuse, though. That does come up at one point. In particular, the type of abuse where you as a child are kind of forced to fend for yourself.
This is very much like a metaphor for neglect.
Weirdly enough, Jack hasn't seen the movie yet, but while I was watching this movie, I kind of felt like this movie was almost like a cross between Ari Aster's Eddington and Stephen King's It. The Eddington part really comes into the way, like, this one incident completely affects everyone in the town, and they start going crazy with their own crazy conspiracy theories that puts them all at odds with one another. That's very Eddington, though this movie goes in a different direction than Eddington did. Eddington is a complete and utter tragedy, and this movie isn't entirely a tragedy, the way that is, which is funny because this is the horror movie.
Yeah, right.
Eddington's the dark western. But they're almost like sister and brother movies in that way. But there's also like the Stephen King element where the incident itself is almost treated like a looming force, a looming threat that's affecting the town the way Pennywise.
Yeah, the moment when the dad is having his dream sequence, he sees the house with the big rifle spinning over it. That was like the most Stephen King moment.
Yes.
You know, ever.
Absolutely.
You know?
But it also made me think of like Beau is Afraid when like he goes into like the attic and sees his dad as a giant dick.
Yeah.
Surreal metaphorical imagery that makes you go, what the fuck?
What the fuck just happened?
There's a lot going on in this movie. I'm not sure if every single theme quite lives up to its potential, but the soup altogether tastes delicious.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a very good movie. One thing you might want to be a little bit ready for is the movie is long.
Yes, I would agree with that. There is a point about like 75% through where it starts to drag a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's primarily because you're now seeing like your fifth character's perspective and you're going over some similar events. And while there is new stuff, most of the reveal has happened at this point. You kind of know what's going on and you kind of just want to get to the conclusion at this point.
Yeah, you want to cut to the chase, as it were.
The stuff it's showing you is emotionally wrenching because a lot of it centers on one of the children that's at the center of this whole thing. So it's one of the most emotionally wrenching like segments in it. But there is a point where you're like, okay, I kind of get it. And now I feel like you're just kind of dragging it on for the runtime.
Yeah. There's about 5 minutes here we don't need.
Yeah.
You know.
I did notice an occasional plot hole, I guess would be the word, primarily because the way this movie is structured is each character is going over the same couple of days.
Yeah.
And you see how some of these days align with like the way characters like paths cross. And there are a couple times where I could tell, okay, possibly through re-editing the movie and rearranging scenes to have like more emotional cohesion, some things happen where I'm like, okay, so the cop car should be there when that kid arrives at that place.
Yeah.
Because by this point, the cop was there. But the movie is so engaging that most people aren't going to notice those things. So Weapons is a solid, engaging mystery horror movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed its conclusion, especially the final act is one hell of a final act.
I have heard that a lot of people didn't like the final act, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell is wrong with you.
Okay, I think it's because it's funny that people get mad at it.
They got mad because it was hilarious.
But I love that because it's funny, not just because what's happening is fucking hilarious. It's also funny because what you're experiencing in that moment is pure catharsis.
Yes.
It's pure catharsis, and all you can do is sit there and just giggle, like a ghoulish giggle.
Yes.
While it's happening.
Yeah, it really is a big, like, get him.
It's a very Tales from the Crypt-y ending.
It's very Tales from the Crypt.
And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, Weapons is currently available in theaters. One of the best horror movies of the year. I highly recommend you go check it out. Definitely top five. I think it's currently in my top 5 on Letterboxd right now. So with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
All right, last chance to back out.
Last chance to back out.
Last chance to back out. It's a witch.
Yes. The reveal of this movie, despite the fact that the characters are on a witch hunt at the beginning and incorrectly identifying the witch in question, there actually is a witch in this story.
Yeah.
And it's a witch that is manipulating everything. And every time you see her pop up, either in someone's dreams or they see her like in the forest.
Yeah.
At one point, she is manipulating the whole scene behind the scenes in order to cover her own tracks and like lead people down the wrong, incorrect paths. The poster to this movie is a fucking lie.
Yeah.
The poster says that the kids disappeared at like 2 a.m. They were all members of Miss Grady's class.
Yeah.
And they never returned. Lie.
That's
the
a lie.
kids are still alive. They are in Aunt Gladys, I think is her name.
Yeah,
basement.
Aunt Gladys.
Technically, it's not her basement. It's the basement of this kid Alex's parents, whose house she has taken over and turned his parents into essentially zombies.
Yeah. Like classic, like voodoo, I have your soul zombies.
I am manipulating them. They have no agency of their own. They do whatever I tell them to.
Yes.
She has to do a ritual every time she tells them to do something, which becomes very important.
Yeah.
The fact that the movie shows us the ritual over and over again feels a little redundant at first, but then when you get to the end, it pays off.
Yeah. You realize that the reason that they've been showing it to you is because the kid has figured out the ritual.
Yes, and he does the ritual at the end to the witch, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
It's one of the most amazing moments of the movie. One of my favorite fucking bits in this entire movie is the way it ends. Many sins in a movie can be forgiven if you have an amazing ending.
Yeah, this movie has an amazing ending.
Well, apparently Mothra has decided to join us. All right, rock on, Mothra.
You know, they say when a witch dies, a moth escapes her mouth.
Oh, that explains a lot. Yeah. So basically, she took over the kid Alex's house and thought she could use Alex's parents in order to make herself young again because she is dying.
Yeah.
She is growing old and frail, turning into a straight up hag.
Yeah.
But the parents aren't enough. She needs more youthful energy. She needs to absorb more than just two people.
Yes.
So she convinces Alex to bring something personal from each of the children in his classroom. So he ends up finding like the pictures that they did on their cubbies.
Yeah.
Brings all of them in.
It's a personal work of art.
Yes, because it's something that has to be connected to their home and not just them, is what she mentioned. So it's something they obviously drew at home and then brought in and put on their cubby. So he collects them all, brings them in, and she does her little ritual with the stick and the blood and the bowl of water. And all the kids are brought to the house, and it's essentially like a Pied Piper thing.
Yeah.
They're brought to the house, they're stuck there in a zombie catatonic state. And one of the more fucking heart-wrenching moments is when you realize that all of these zombies, they need to be fed.
Yeah.
So this entire time, while all this other bullshit is happening with all these other characters, poor Alex has to come home every day, feed his parents, and then feed each of his classmates, and then tell no one. If he does tell someone what's going on, she's gonna have the parents kill each other.
Yeah.
Poor fucking kid.
Yeah.
I was reading an interview with Zach Cregger where he talked about how Alex's story about having to come home and take care of his parents comes from his own childhood of having to take care of his drug-addicted parents.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Knowing that, like, I can see it. I can see it in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, the parents are way more sympathetic in this because they're complete victims of the witch.
Yeah.
In this instance, but I can totally see how those same emotions would apply where you got to come home, the parents can't take care of themselves whatsoever, and you have to, like, feed them.
Yeah.
And so you have to become the adults.
Yeah, you're the caretaker. You're not supposed to be, but you are.
And it's very obvious that she keeps Alex around because she has to do the ritual every time to tell these zombies to do something. And when they do it, they're going to do it in like a zombie-like state. People can tell something's wrong with them. So she needs the kid to be around to do her dirty work, and him being a kid makes it even easier for people to not suspect him.
Yeah, because he's a little kid. How could he be doing this?
Exactly.
You know?
She has all these flaws in her own plan that is what causes most of the incidents in other people's stories.
Yeah, like for instance, if she had left the principal alone, this wouldn't have happened.
Yes. Because the principal at one point needs to talk to the parents of the child. And there's a point in which the authorities are threatening to call CPS on the kid if this isn't met. If this thing isn't met. So it's up to the principal to establish contact with the parents. The parents can't be in contact because they're both catatonic zombies. So whenever the aunt shows up to try to like represent the kid, he's like, well, that's great that you're here and all that stuff, but you're not their legal guardian.
Yeah.
So eventually she just solves the situation by having him kill his husband.
Yeah.
And then use him to kill the teacher who has gotten so close to figuring out what's going on.
Yeah.
In one of the most horrifying sequences in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
When the poor principal has to fucking like headbutt his husband until their faces are no longer fucking faces. They're just fucking hamburger.
Bad.
And then go after the teacher and chase her through the fucking streets.
Yeah. And this is the fatal mistake, because what this does is this causes the Josh Brolin character to realize he's got the wrong person.
Yeah. She's being attacked by someone doing the run that his kid did when they escaped the house.
Right. So it's like...
Yeah, why would she be attacked by one of these? Obviously, someone's trying to get rid of her.
Yeah.
I better talk to her, because she might be onto something.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's how they figure out where the house is at.
And that's where like a big difference between this and Eddington is. No one teams up by the end of Eddington because everyone hates each other. and like that movie's about the complete destruction of America because of like COVID and conspiracies and yada, yada, yada. This movie has a much happier ending where the two people that are at odds end up coming together in order to save these children.
Yes.
And I like the way Gladys, when she shows up in people's dreams and like just shows up like randomly, she feels like Pennywise.
She does.
Like the way she's taunting people.
Yeah. Yeah, she looks so fucking outlandish.
Yeah. I don't know if like there's supposed to be an implication that she can't use a mirror, but she clearly can't apply her own makeup well.
Correct.
So she looks almost like a clown.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like an old woman whose makeup is so thick that she looks like a fucking clown.
I feel like the idea is supposed to be that she is so inhuman now that she can only create like a caricature of an old lady.
Yeah.
And not an actual old lady.
Yeah.
I will say this, between this and Barbarian, Zach Cregger clearly has something for hagsploitation movies.
Oh, yeah.
If like the surprise twist in the next movie is that there's some like evil old lady.
Yeah, then we're on to him.
Then we're on to him. And something involving a basement.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the amazing ending.
So the amazing ending is that Alex, the little kid, he figures out that maybe if he does the ritual, he can command the zombie kids themselves.
Yep. It's a thorny stick. Basically, the ritual is very simple. You take the stick, you poke yourself, you rub the blood on the stick, and then basically you think of the command of what you want them to do, and then you snap the stick, right?
Yeah.
I think you also have to like tie something personal to the person you want them to attack to. So
Yeah. You do that, and then you like, and then they follow your command.
So he does this with the kids, and he attaches Gladys's wig, like a piece of her wig,
piece of her wig to it,
onto it, and snaps it. And so all the kids charge, full Naruto run.
Yeah.
Chasing her in this hilarious sequence where she's running through people's houses as the kids are smashing through the windows.
Yeah. It's full on like kids like leaping out of windows.
Yeah, culminating in her tripping, the kids coming upon her and then ripping her apart piece by piece, like ripping off her jaw from its hinge and ripping off her arms.
One leg over here is another one over there, arms over here.
Yeah, she is in pieces. She is definitively dead.
Yeah, and the whole sequence is maximized for laughs.
Yep.
You know, like just the one guy mowing his lawn and then looking over, old lady, a group of kids.
It's one of my favorite endings to a horror movie this year.
It's amazing. It's fucking amazing.
And then the movie concludes with Alex going essentially to live with a non-abusive aunt.
Yeah.
Because the parents are catatonic, probably because she's been feeding on them the longest.
Yeah.
That was my assumption. And the kids apparently start returning back to normal after a year.
Yeah.
They go back to their families, and I guess like the families just assume that they're just like non-verbally traumatized.
Yeah. By something.
Yeah. Traumatized and non-verbal is probably a better way to put that.
Yeah.
So that is Weapons.
Yeah, that's Weapons.
It's a great movie.
Great movie.
It's fun. It's got holes, but the holes really don't matter by the end of it, and most of you aren't even going to notice it. So, yeah. Any final thoughts?
Oh, no. This is a fucking amazing movie. The ending sequence is more than satisfying. It's some of the best.
It makes up for any flaws getting there. Like some when the pacing's dragging a little bit, or when like certain plot holes here and there. It makes up for it when you get to that conclusion and everything feels worth it.
Yeah, it does.
And so with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Well, you can find me here on YouTube and on Blue Sky. Here on YouTube, you can find me at Planet Dracula. You just look up Count Jackula. I stream here like throughout the week.
Y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me on various you can find me on various social media platforms, but these days I primarily use Blue Sky, so follow me on there. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. If you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages, and remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, if you made it this far into the movie, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag Hagsploitation. Use the hashtag Hagsploitation, that way I know, that way Jack knows, that way the whole world knows that you know what the final twist of this movie really is. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and we'll catch y'all later.